Hi, everybody, it's Josh, taking a little excursion out of the messy basement to try a different backdrop, but the result is that I don't have my computer in front of me, and my phone is shooting this, so I'm off the dome here with the information. So it won't be as, well, I was going to say encyclopedic, but really it's pretty obvious that I keep looking over at the computer. So there's nothing to look over at. There's only a tub of cheese balls, so that's not going to be very helpful today. I'd like to talk about a movie that I saw, which is called Lisa Frankenstein, and I don't know that it's obscure. I can't tell anymore. We're in a very weird time with movies where I don't know. This seems to have a marketing push, but it might just be my algorithm. But the theater was packed with teenagers, so I think that I think this is working. I think this caught the attention of people. This is a very interesting little horror comedy, a very rare breed of a movie, at least in the specifics and in its ambitions and its specific choices and decisions and filmmaking artistry. This is a very unique movie, sure to be very divisive. It is written by Diablo Cody, who has a very fascinating track record over the past 20, 30 years of writing interesting movies that either become indie darlings or cult hits or whatever, and many of them are not appreciated in their moment. Either they are in their moment, like Juno, which was like an Oscar darling, but then over time people kind of turned on it because they accused it of being overwritten and too clever by half. I have not revisited that movie in a while. I'd be interested to. I think I enjoyed it in the theater the first time. But then on the other end of the spectrum are movies like Jennifer's Body, which was roundly ignored when it came out or even panned, and has gained a real cult following over the years. And a whole lot of YouTube type reviewers anyway have reclaimed and revisited Jennifer's Body and said that it's great. And I watched it again a couple years ago, and I think I agree. I appreciated what it was what it was trying to say, and just that it was a fun, different kind of movie. So now we have another fun, very different kind of movie. I can't really think of three more different movies than Juno, Jennifer's Body, and Lisa Frankenstein. Those are just three random selections of the career of Diablo Cody. But we'll talk about what sets this one apart. This movie is also the feature directorial debut of Zelda Williams, who is a new talent that I will be sure to keep an eye on. She is, of course, also the daughter of the late, great, missed Robin Williams, but I think that she doesn't need that connection to make this interesting. I think the movie speaks for itself and is very interesting. So, Lisa Frankenstein is a PG-13 horror comedy about a girl in high school who is a misfit, played by Katherine Newton. Her name is Lisa, and she doesn't fit in. She's had a tragic past. She and her father moved on from a tragedy at different speeds. He remarried, and now they live with his new wife, played by Carla Gugino, by the way, in a very interesting kind of odious villainous turn. And so she has a stepsister, and she doesn't fit in at school. She's morose. She likes poetry. She writes dark poetry, and she likes to hang out in a graveyard where she has crushes on the various dead guys, especially one who's simply labeled as unmarried and has a bust of a darkly handsome guy on it. And she brings him things and talks to him and visits him. And if you've seen the trailer, you know that this essentially what happens in this movie is some supernatural phenomenon, natural, supernatural, I don't know. Something happens, a movie thing happens, and this young man rises from the grave and essentially he befriends Lisa, or she befriends him, and he's missing a few body parts, and the horror comedy really kicks in when they begin to find the extra body parts he needs to complete himself. This is a very odd object, this movie. Very divisive. I feel like, just in the audience where I saw it, the teenage girls seem to be having a lot of fun, and the teenage boys seem to be baffled and angry. And I think this is going to be off-putting to just kind of like, normie, older people looking to have fun with a PG-13 movie. It's a Faustian kind of a story, Little Shop of Horrors being another example where characters end up committing murder as part of their, deal with the devil. There's no literal devil in this movie, but figuratively, they, in order to pursue their dreams, they have to they at first sort of accidentally kill someone, and then they have to kill more people to. And so that aspect of this movie is handled so cavalierly, and its after effects are seldom dealt with in depth, that you kind of have to just accept the movie on its own terms and go for the ride. The first, I'm not going to get into any spoilers whatsoever. There's elements of this in the trailer, but I'm not going to name characters or say what happens when. But I'll just say that the first time someone is killed, it has that kind of dark Faustian aspect to it, where it's a little bit satisfying. It's wrong, but the movie is so, it's been engineered to get to this point. After that point, it really just starts dispensing with people left and right, and it doesn't matter. In horror, in movies like this, and slashers and horror movies, there's always some little character trait that justifies why someone gets knocked off. But this movie's not. Don't look for this movie to be a tight moral tale. And by the end, I mean, really, some people were agitated in the movie. This is going to be a divisive movie. Also, the fact that it's a PG-13 movie feels like a business decision, like a studio decision, and not a creative filmmaker decision. I feel like this really wants to be an R-rated movie. It goes really over the line where a lot of PG-13 movies haven't gone. It's just edited within an inch of its life to avoid certain things. But certain body parts that are not allowed to be shown on screen in a PG-13 movie are hacked off, and you're aware of what's going on, even though it's kind of weird, cleverly edited, and just the material is so dark, and the references, and it's got a frankness about the sexuality of young people that I think is probably refreshing in a movie. It's just, I'm not criticizing this movie and saying these are bad things. I'm just saying I wonder if this movie would have flourished a little more if it could have just leaned into being an R-rated horror comedy. It is about high school, and it is fun, and I think a lot of and I know that high schoolers are in a different place now than they were 85 years ago when I was in high school. So maybe I'm just being curmudgeonly. Again, I'm not saying it's bad and it's dirty and you shouldn't see it. I'm saying I was surprised that it felt a little bit like it was restrained by its rating from where it maybe wanted to go. What else to say? There's a really cool animated credit sequence. You don't see those enough anymore. By the way, Catherine Newton is Lisa, and Cole Sprouse plays guy who rises from the dead. I don't know that he's ever named. He probably is. I just don't remember. I like this movie, but just know what you're getting into. Watch a trailer or an ad or something, and look it up on Instagram or whatever, and you'll know if it's for you or not. It is. It takes place in the 80s. That's kind of fun. It's got 80s beverages and references, and even the title, Lisa Frankenstein, I didn't realize until after the fact, is an 80s reference to a brand of clothing called Lisa Frank, which is kind of like tracksuits and neon, garish neon, wear for fitness ladies, fashionable people in the 80s. And then, of course, there's the Frankenstein aspect as well. As far as Diablo Cody's writing, it's funny and sharp. It's a lot more interested in moments and lines than it is in like through lines and themes. It leaves a lot of things hanging. You have to just not care. It's wacky enough that I think you forgive it. But I mean, I will say this though. By the end of the movie, it almost completely sidesteps the consequences for its major murders and losses and deaths. There's a little bit of reckoning at the end with one relationship, and I'm not going to spoil any more than that. But in general, this movie has its cake and eats it too, and that's okay because it's a fun, dumb comedy. I don't think that it owes us tying everything up. A movie like Saltburn, I felt like tied everything up way too much. So I'm okay with loose ends, and I'm okay with a shorter movie. That's Lisa Frankenstein. Not made for me, but I had a good time with it, and I kind of got perverse enjoyment out of the clear division in the crowd, of high schoolers that were watching it in my theater, and there was a young jock did exclaim WTF, the whole phrase, the moment that it went to black for the credits, and all the girls laughed at him. So that's my experience with Lisa Frankenstein. I think that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with more shorts and some other surprises and more reviews very soon. Thanks a lot for watching. Josh out.